Hey guys, wanted to talk real quick here about procrastination and a fear of making decisions. I've run into that with clients a couple of times recently, but and it kind of made me think about making a video about this. But I want you to kind of think about this, the idea of fear in decision making and how that impacts you. If you're a procrastinator, somebody that kind of puts things off or kind of decides that you can kind of just tread water for a little bit and maybe with some time you won't have to actually make a decision, then this is something you should probably listen to. I dealt with this. I dealt with that quite a bit in the past, and to where I would just kind of, it seemed like I'd put everything on the back burner. So I didn't really have to make many decisions, and really it's a fear of commitment, a fear of failure, a fear of letting people down. And so I kind of want to encourage you to think about it a little bit differently. So one thing that helped me was my grandfather actually told me this, that when you decide, when you do nothing, you're deciding right then, you're making a decision to do nothing. You're making a decision to procrastinate. So it's not that you're getting out of the decision, you're making a conscious, intentional decision to do nothing. So at that time, you take the knowledge you have, the best knowledge that you can get, the information you can get, and you make the best decision you can. And you go with it. And you can start this. One of the things I did was I started making decisions assertively. That was kind of a word I remember thinking about. And it was being assertive in even the little things, like eating at a restaurant and having to decide what I want. I remember I would have 2 or 3 things and have a real hard decision about making that decision about what I wanted to eat. And it was kind of ridiculous because it's just a meal. This isn't like some life-changing decision. But you would have thought it was. I was somewhat paralyzed. It's called paralysis by analysis. I would just analyze things to the point that, man, it really was almost paralyzing. So I just started doing little things to change my behaviors. I started acting my way into a new way of thinking. And so I would just start making decisions about things very assertively. So sometimes, I don't know, maybe it wasn't the best thing to order off the menu, but I made a decision and I stuck with it. And it started doing little things like that in my daily life, started to change the way I thought about things. It started to decrease the fear. I started acting my way into thinking and feeling different about the decisions I wanted to make. And so when other things came along, somebody needed my help, needed a favor, other decisions that might be a little bit bigger, I seemed to be able to think my way through those a little bit differently, or I should say, act my way through those differently. And so, now I'm not saying you can't put things off and put it into you need to think about this, put it into a decision-making process. I get that. Not everything is set up so that you can make a decision immediately. However, if you're going to do that, I think it's vital that you have a decision-making or a system to put that into. And I talk about this with clients quite a bit, that something as simple as a calendar for scheduled events, so you know if you have time to do certain things, and also a to-do list that actually has a function, not the kind of to-do list that you never look at. I mean, you should be looking at a to-do list, 20 plus times a day. So if you're not doing that, that's not a to-do list. That's kind of an idea or a wish list. You're not really planning on doing that stuff, if you ask me. But if you have a system in place that you can put that decision or put that off and go back to it, the idea is that you go back to it and commit to doing something, either saying yes or no, then I think that's okay. But this fear of decisions and fear of failure, and fear of commitment, I think is so detrimental to many people, and it was very detrimental to me, because I just seemed to operate in fear so often in my life, and I wouldn't have said that at the time. I didn't recognize it as fear, but it is. And I think we've all known people that are kind of that way. They're kind of flaky, or they just can't commit. It's almost as if they're putting you off to make sure something better doesn't come along. And so today, even right now, think about some things, some decisions that you've made recently, or didn't make, I should say. Maybe decisions you didn't make recently that you put off unnecessarily. Also, think about a way that, if you're going to lunch and you're going to make a decision on a menu or where you're going, man, make that decision assertively and just follow through with it. It may not be the best meal you've ever had. It may not even be, you may even get a better idea later of maybe I don't want to go to this restaurant, I should have gone somewhere else. That's okay. But you're starting to train yourself. You're starting to act your way into a new way of thinking and feeling, a new way of being. So just kind of think about that. I think that's something that's beneficial to a lot of people. So if you have questions, obviously you guys can reach out to me. If you're just seeing this online, then post comments or questions if you'd like, and I'll try to respond to those. So take care of yourself, take care of others. You got one life, only one. What are you going to do with it?